I wanna kiss you all over and over again. What's that? What movie is that from, Kobe?
Happy Gilmore.
Have you ever seen Happy Gilmore?
No. But you just told me about it like 2 seconds ago.
Well, you should watch it because the second one's coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
But anyway, we are going to be doing a Q&A because I put up Q&A on Instagram, had some people ask some questions. Kobe is going to go through my phone and hopefully not look at things he shouldn't be looking at, but
Okay.
Blender. We're already in a blender. Someone's calling me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going to answer some questions on the Instagram and just a Q&A video. You know, we're just trying to keep the content rolling here.
Any tips for a tall person trying to build a bigger back? He's 6'4".
Whoa. Well, I'm 6'2", maybe 6'3", depending on the hair. Honestly, when it comes to building the back, and for me specifically, the upper back was a weak point, I just started hammering chest-supported row variations and pulling variations. So if you have access to machines that you can get a really good range of motion for any chest-supported stuff, definitely do them. Typically, I was also training back twice per week. So if you're not training back twice per week, I would definitely emphasize making it like your day one of your week. So you can put as much effort and intensity towards that, and then put it somewhere at the end of the week, maybe like a Thursday or a Friday. So just by throwing in lots of chest supported work, along with your traditional lat pull downs and different types of rows and stuff like that, I think by increasing the frequency and going pretty dang heavy on them, like anywhere from that, I want to say 6 to 10 rep range, and obviously you need to be eating in a surplus to grow, you're going to get a freaking turtle shell of a back there, baby. Okay. Emotional?
Emotional.
Yeah. All right. Interesting choice of words.
This guy's motivation going to the gym has went down the drain. How do you get that back?
How do you get that back? It's down the drain. So there's different ways you could take this with motivation, but when I feel like my motivation is down the drain, and this is like down the drain, like bottom of the drain, like there's not much motivation left. Typically what I like to do is just go towards things I enjoy. So maybe it's going to be changing the programming up a little bit. Let's say you're doing a lot of strength training, you're just kind of mentally, physically burnt out about it, but you really are enjoying going for walks, or you're really enjoying doing some athletic movements or bodyweight stuff. During that period where the motivation is just not there, and I'm talking this like an all-time low point, just start gravitating towards things that you like. Now, if you're not at that low of a point, what I always recommend is signing up for something which is going to hold you accountable, because the motivation is going to ebb and flow, right? And that's kind of probably what I should have started this whole thing with, is motivation is temporary, or it's in the moment, and that's where you really need to develop those habits and that discipline to just be consistent. So signing up for something may be a good idea. Maybe it's a competition, maybe it's, you know, some sort of event for whatever you're involved with, but that's going to give you a deadline. It's going to hold you accountable. So even on the days that you're not super motivated, you have to show up because you have this deadline that you need. And then the last one I usually tell people is having some sort of accountability buddy, right? Having a training partner at the gym. That way, you know, it's not just you that shows up. You have somebody else who is going to show up there with you. And on days where either one of you are maybe a little bit less motivated, you can call each other, text each other, just to make sure that they're showing up. So that would be kind of the motivation in a nutshell. But just understand, like, there's days when I'm not motivated, days where Kobe's not motivated, probably like today where I forced him to come over and we're in my office shooting this video. But the discipline and the consistency is what will keep him going on to the next day and being successful.
This person wants to start strongman, but they train in a commercial gym. How would you get started training for a strongman being in a commercial gym?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of YouTube videos. I know Alan Thrall has done some videos on this of how to train strongman in commercial gyms. So I would say definitely check those videos out because you are only limited by your imagination, right? There's a lot of ways you can still mimic similar movement patterns and events or exercises that are in strongman. So check that out and get a little bit more creative. It may not be perfect, but it's better than nothing. Outside of that, what I recommend is keep training at your commercial gym, but then maybe drop into a gym on the weekend that has strongman equipment, right? You just pay the drop-in fee, and that way you can still keep your regular training going. And then on Saturdays, you're gonna do your strongman Saturday at a local gym. And then I get the counterpoint to that is, I don't have a local strongman gym or it's super far away. Well, then you create it, right? So maybe it's going and getting a tire that usually they're just trying to sell for, or not sell, they're trying to get rid of, and you can bring that to your yard, or you can get Atlas stone molds, or you can get some kegs, and you have a little assortment of some strongman equipment, and you do that on the weekends, or you start getting a couple buddies over and you have your own strongman Saturday. So it's easy to get involved with it. Don't overcomplicate it. Have fun with it. And then maybe if you want to do a competition, sign up for a competition. But if not, it's just something you enjoy, have at it, and be a strong man.
What do you think about the conjugate method?
Okay. Strap in. We're buckled in. So what I've said in the past, and I've done some videos on conjugate training, and actually Kobe was with me with Dave Tate, who is, arguably up there as one of the founders of Conjugate disciples. My thoughts on it are, go watch those videos if you haven't already. And then secondly, when it comes to Conjugate, I actually do really enjoy it. And I think that if it is programmed properly, it is great for athletes and first responders or military, law enforcement personnel, or just the personality type that likes to change things up, have variation, likes to have the opportunity to go really heavy, but then also still get high intensity with lower weights, with those max effort days and dynamic effort days. I think the holdup with Conjugate is it can be very complicated to a beginner. So it depends on where you're at in your training career. But at the same time, it can be simplified down. So, and there's probably examples of simplified Conjugate programs that are out there. So that would be like a counterpoint to it. And I think there are some block periodization coaches that would argue that there's just way too much variation happening too often. So it's really hard to make consistent progress in certain lists because you don't have enough exposure to them. But at the end of the day, you have really high tiered level athletes and competitors and just people that have run Conjugate and they do very well. And you have people that have done other methods and have done very well. So I think it's valid. I think you have to think about, what are your goals? What type of personality do you have? What equipment do you have available to you? And that'll kind of gear you in the right direction, and also experience level for sure. So I don't necessarily think a beginner just in the gym should hop right into a Conjugate programming format. I think you should give yourself some time, get some reps and some sets under your belt for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years. And then once you have those basics, the foundation set, you've run some different programming models, then I think you can go into the open world of Conjugate and have fun with it, because it is more like an open world. And I've used that analogy before, like an open world video game where you just go based off principles and there's a lot to take in, and you can go right, you can go left, you can go up, you could go down. At the end of the day, if you follow the principles, good things are going to happen.
Best way to train your chest, and this person's bench is also a weak point in their training.
So when it comes to the bench press, I do think you want to have a bit of a higher frequency. So anywhere from 2 to 3 times per week of some sort of benching variation or accessory work. I would definitely put your regular bench as day one. I'd probably pick a variation of the bench press that hits a weak point on the second day, and then the third day more like bodybuilding accessory style work. And really, like that's kind of it, is just increasing the frequency and the volume. I think there is also a good point that sometimes people are just too small to increase their bench. So you need to eat more. Like you need to put on some size. Like when you look at these big benchers, they're thick freaking animals. So you have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, am I just not big enough, right? Because when you look at those big guys, it stands out. They got huge full chests, right? They're going really hard. So, there's some validity to that. So maybe get yourself in a caloric surplus, figure out where your weak points are. So if it's, midway up or if it's on the chest, that's going to dictate which variations you're using. And then also in the off season, just be hammering lots of hypertrophy work, right? Get a lot of reps in and just keep building the chest, the shoulders, the back, and the triceps. And if you do that over time, your bench press should definitely increase.
Would you prioritize rest over training if you are lacking sleep during a shift rotation? This person's shift is 12 to 16 hours a day.
I think that being tired from not getting enough sleep actually doesn't really affect your training as much as you think it does. So there's a hot take for you. Now, is it suck getting started? Yeah, absolutely. But I do think once the juices are flowing, you can still get a pretty dang good session in. So when it comes down to rest versus training, I like to train. And that's a pretty blanket and bold statement. But I would rather see more training sessions across the year than less, and more consistency in the gym than starting to develop this mindset of, I didn't get enough sleep, I'm going to rest. It's like, okay, I didn't get enough sleep, I'm still going to go train, but maybe I need to modify my training a little bit. So that would be my hot take on that question.
All-time favorite lift you've ever hit?
Oh, man. I don't know. I think, like, a lot of my big lifts, for all of them, are super special. I loaded a 420 Atlas stone for a state record, New York, and that was sick because I want to say it was like 54 or 56 inches with a 420 stone. So to me, that was really cool because I really liked Atlas stones. Anytime I hit a log PR is a big deal for me, especially with the show coming up that I'm doing. They got a 380 log, which I have not hit in a competition, and my one big goal is a 400-pound log. So, I'm getting closer to that, and that'll be a lot of fun. Deadlift PRs are always electric. I think there's definitely like the iconic Buzz Lightyear deadlift I hit when I pulled 750 or 755 in a Buzz Lightyear suit for Halloween. That was a lot of fun. I lost my mind there. And then the squat where I hit 725 was clean, and then there was 750, which Martin Lisi's touched the end of the barbell. I don't really think he assisted much, but obviously if he touched it, I can't technically count it, but I was really hyped because that was the most I've ever squatted. I don't know. I think like all PRs I like all PRs. They're great. Whether it's a little grip rinky dinky one or whether it's a big one, I like them big or small. You know what I'm saying? They're great.
All right. I feel like I can't find a program I enjoy and stick with it. Any advice?
Keep looking. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough if you keep trying. I mean, well, yeah, keep searching. Eventually you'll find it. And if you don't, then create it. And if you can't create it, then move on to something else. You'll figure it out.
Is direct arm training necessary for a good physique?
Depends on what your physique looks like, right? So if you are built everywhere else and your arms are what's holding you back, then yeah, you need direct arm work. I used to be in that camp years ago where I didn't think you needed direct arm work. And I realized I was an idiot, because if you want to grow your biceps and your triceps, or honestly any muscle that you want to improve the size on, you will benefit by doing direct work. So if you're asking this question, something tells me that hitting arms more directly and isolated will enhance your physique. And honestly, is this a guy asking this question?
Yeah.
Your arms can never get too big, okay? So yeah, get after it and smash them, and you won't regret it. You're going to regret your biceps and triceps just being too big. My arms are too big. No, I've never said that. You ever said that?
No.
Yeah.
Every man wants bigger arms. I mean, I've never heard a guy who wants small arms.
Like I said, yeah. I've wanted smaller legs. That's a true fact.
True fact.
That is a true fact. But I've never wanted smaller arms.
All right. Any tips to getting in the food needed to grow?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it depends. Like, so I deal with a lot of high schoolers who have a super fast metabolism. And obviously, when we're trying to get in our calories, we try to do it with much whole food and higher quality food, you know, and I'm obviously, people can say like food is food, but like we know it's higher quality, more nutrient dense than other things, right? You got a pack of Oreos and you got chicken salad, like a salad with chicken, not chicken salad. You know, maybe with some rice, whatever, right? Which one are you going to pick? Probably the chicken with the salad and some rice. But say you get most of your calories in that way and you're still not gaining weight, then we got to get creative here, right? I'm a big fan of doing shakes, so blending up liquids. Obviously, milk is going to be nice and dense. You got different types of nut butters or peanut butter. That's going to be calorie dense. I won't lie, like I've been guilty telling some of the kids like, yo, go hit up McDonald's or go to Chick-fil-A. Like, you know, you got to get those calories in one way or another. And it's not that I'm worried about them having health issues or being fat, you know, and obese. It's because their metabolism is so high and they require so much energy that may be what's needed. Now, when it comes to macros, like I would try to use that mostly for protein and really jack up the carbs and keep the fat moderate, but that's not always the case, especially when we're having highly palatable foods that may have a little bit more fat, but that's okay. I like making sandwiches, so I'm always making peanut butter and jellies, peanut butter and fluffs. I like Nutri-Grain bars. I like Chewy bars. Any sort of granola bar, I'll just shove it in my fanny pack or my backpack. I like packs, so I'm always packed. I'm strapped with lots of bars. So I'm trying to think. Ice cream is good. You can make really delicious shakes, you know, by throwing a couple scoops of ice cream in there. It's going to jack the calories up. Honey, throwing honey on things sounds weird, but I'll just drizzle some honey on my rice. You got anything?
Probably sweetens it up, right?
Yeah. Well, if it's sweet, you want to eat more of it. So, you know,
yeah,
want them cookies from the cookie jar.
Perfect. How has it been watching Ethan's progress?
Listen, well, first off, Ethan's a great guy. I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity. And if you guys don't know, which I'll probably have to make another video explaining more of this, but I am Ethan Benard, not Bernard's, accountability and strength coach. So Ethan at one point was 660 some pounds, and he's right around 500 pounds now, which he did most of that on his own. I've been working with him the last 6 weeks at this point, and my main goal is helping him with his strength training, just building better habits and being his accountability coach. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge journey is what it is, right? So I guess that's like my main thing when it comes to Ethan is there's going to be lots of ups and downs. It's going to be all over the place. There's going to be times where we're crushing it. There's going to be times where we hit plateaus, and you know, it's going to be different emotionally throughout this whole process. But he's very compliant and he seems very fired up to, you know, attack these goals and make the changes necessary, which fires me up and inspires me. And it's also challenging in its own sense for me because I've never had a client that was as heavy as him before. And there's things that he's talked about or said that I've never really thought about because I haven't had those thoughts and I haven't worked with people that have had those thoughts. So it's a learning experience for me, but it's been awesome to be able to help him and coach him and learn from him and him learn from me. So overall, great experience, and I'm really excited to see where we go with it. And if he stays with it and puts his mind to it and just doesn't give up, he's going to get there, and it's going to inspire a lot of people. And it's inspired me, and I know it'll continue to inspire so many others because we're documenting it on a day-to-day, week by week, month by month. You know, you come back in 2 years or something, you're going to see everything that we did and how we did it, which I think is great, because then if you're watching this and you struggle with that, like, you can just hop right in and be a part of it. So yeah, very excited and super stoked, and I love what we're trying to do and eventually will do together. So there you go, guys. Answer some questions from the gram. So if you guys have more questions, make sure when I put them up on Instagram, drop them in there, because that's where we're pulling them from, or in the comment section down below, comment section down below. Put them in there. My man Kobe will read them off, and we'll try to do this, every other week or so, just to have some consistent Q&As. And that's about it. But we appreciate you guys tuning in, keeping this content rolling. I got my man Kobe here, who's just knocking it out of the park. Stay a lean, mean, strength machine. Catch up with you next time. Peace.